Hi, this is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. We are speaking about productive people here. And we are saying what makes the productive people to be even more productive, what makes productive people to be ultra productive. And these are some tips that we are giving that when you are wanting to become productive, you should actually use this and you become much more better. The first thing that I want to speak about is the use of what we call 80-20 rule. The use of what we call 80-20 rule is what productive people are using. And productive people are using that to great effect, and they become better and better every day. The reason is because they are actually becoming more productive because they're using this. They identify the most critical 20% and start actually just focusing on the 20% and forget about the rest. And because 20% of things that you do are the ones that are contributing towards the 80% of your progress. And this is very important. Now, productivity actually depends on that as well. Because it's only 20% of the things that you can do that will bring a lot of productivity. We know that there are some of the people that are actually cluttering themselves with a lot of tasks. They want to do everything. And I want to urge you as a young man that avoid trying to do everything. Remember, you cannot do everything. You cannot succeed. You cannot be everywhere any given time. You cannot know everybody and you cannot know every place. So that's very important that as a young man, you understand that productive people, they are able to identify those 20% things that are actually making them successful. Those 20% of the things that they can spend their time on much more, because those are the type of things that are bringing contribution and positive one to their lives and to the success of the projects that they're busy with. And that's very important. And when you start to do that and forget about the rest, just focus on the 20%, you will see that you are going to be productive in what you're doing. Now, the second thing that makes productive people to be ultra productive and even more productive is they learn from every mistake. Now, productivity comes with learning from mistakes, and many of us stick on mistakes and continue doing them. And some of us, we are actually making mistakes, but then those mistakes, instead of encouraging us, we get discouraged and we drop everything. And I want to urge you that if you want to be productive, please make sure that you don't focus on mistakes. You must rather learn from those mistakes. Don't dwell on failures, please, as a young man. Because the more you dwell on failures, the more you get discouraged. And you may not even want to face the other day tomorrow. You may not even want to wake up in the morning tomorrow because you feel like you are a very, very big failure. And there's nothing that you can do because you are going to fail. So when you start to focus on your mistakes, you are actually delaying yourselves. And we have seen people that have made failure to become a hindrance in their lives. And I want to urge you as a young man to learn to start making failure to become something that you can pick up and become better from. And I'm meaning this because I know there are people that have actually sat back and say, I'm not going to do this anymore because I failed in the past to do that. Failure doesn't just mean that you are totally not going to succeed at all. Now, I want to urge some few of you young men that might be doing studies. Some of you are in universities. Some of you have failed, maybe even your matric results and so on. Maybe this is time for me to pamper you up and so on and allow you to reflect, and so that you can rise up and learn from your mistakes and say, I've made mistakes, but I'm not going to stop doing. I will keep going until I succeed in that which I do. So this is very important. And I'm actually urging you as a young man to start learning to do that. And as I'm speaking right now, I believe some of you are reflecting and looking at areas where you've made mistakes, and you will rise up and say, I'm not going to be defined by my mistake. I'm going to rise up from it. I'm going to be a better person. A mistake happens to everybody, but that cannot define me. And I would love to urge you as a young man to rise up. Use your mistakes as a fuel to strengthen your processes, because it's very important when you are saying, I've done a mistake, but I can do better. So please, this will compound over time. When you start to do that and you start to find yourself growing and becoming better, and that will compound over time, and you will be better and better every day. And that's very, very key that we mention that. Now, productive people to become ultra productive is because they use the no strategy. They use the no strategy. And I'm speaking about the no strategy today because I think you need to understand what a no strategy is. The difference between successful and really successful people, because there are successful people and those that are really successful. There are successful people and there are those that are ultra successful. There are productive people and those that are ultra productive, meaning that there are those that are really, really productive. And the difference there is that really successful people say no to almost everything. The no strategy is ability to say no. They call you to a meeting and you assess that meeting. You look at the meeting may not be valuable to you. You say no. There are times when people are dragging you into time-wasting tactics and things that are going to waste your time. When you start to learn the no strategy, you'll say no to that and you'll realize that that will make you to become productive. And there are times whereby people clutter you with a lot of work and you become someone who says, I want to help everybody. In this life, you cannot be able to satisfy everybody, by the way. You cannot actually allow everybody to actually define you and everybody to actually limit you by throwing every chunk of work on your table. So please learn to say no. I cannot do. Because when you start to do everything that people ask you to do, you are delaying yourself and you may not be successful at all. And productive people are those that are focusing on what they're doing. And if somebody tries to allocate them something else, they tell them not now, please. No for now and not now at all. So successful and productive people are those that are able to say no. And we have seen such people that are becoming much more successful because ability to say no, which is a strategy on its own, you become actually more productive when you are able to say no. Now, productive people and they become more ultra productive. They become more productive in their lives purely because they refocus their priorities more than once a week. Because sometimes you do priorities, set them up in the week, beginning of the week, Monday, and so on. And you go on sometimes and you continue running a project in a certain way. But you don't do reflection on it. You don't actually look at the priorities and say, are they still relevant? Because sometimes what was a priority last week may not be a priority this week. So it's very important to relook at your priorities for the week and start resetting your priorities. And I'm emphasizing this because majority of us are actually just keep on going and going. And we end up doing routines that are sometimes irrelevant. And if you ask yourself, is this still relevant? You may realize that most of the routines that you keep on doing are actually habits that you've learned in the past. And you continue doing them, but they are not valuable anymore. And they are not adding value in your life anymore. And this is very important. And I want to emphasize that please keep refocusing your priorities more than once a week. Relook and say, is this still relevant or not? Because there are those things that may still be relevant, and there are those that are not relevant anymore. So when you start to look at that, there are those that are priority still. There are those things that are not a priority anymore. So those that are not priority anymore, then you dump them, throw them away. Don't actually hold them back, and continue now with those that are still priority and make sure that you focus because of that. Look at your goals and objectives as well for the week. And please keep on looking at them. Please keep on viewing them and see if they are still the objectives that you want to achieve. Look at them and say, are they still the goals that I want to achieve? And as you do that, you ensure you are making progress. And if not, so change the things up as well. So because sometimes we are afraid to change things up. So please change them up because they may not be relevant at that particular time. Allow me to check out right here because I'm done. And we're done with this topic as well, and I hope that you have learned quite a bit out of it. But before we check out, I want to remind you of our Facebook page, Micornus Phokane, and the Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum. So please follow us there. Make sure that you click notification buttons as well. Our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and Micornus Phokane as well. Very key, very important. And I hope that you'll follow us there, and your life shall never be the same again. Don't forget our TikTok account as well, which is trendy, and I'm sure that will help you as you follow there. And the good Lord will bless you as you do that. Allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.